Well, Michael, thank you for that introduction. It is really great to be here with my colleagues, and I too want to thank Senator Schumer for his leadership, Senator Peters for his, and congratulate Senator Bennett, and Senator Murray, and Senator Cortez Masto and Senator Kelly on great, great victories for the people of your states and for our country. And it really is an honor to continue to serve with all of you. Look, last week in New Hampshire, what we saw, what we heard was resounding support for common sense, for individual freedom, and for democracy. All of those issues matter deeply to the people in my state. In the Granite State, we put together a grassroots campaign that met voters where they were, whether it was at their doors, speaking to the strong investment in grassroots that my colleagues talked about, whether it was at shift changes in a factory, at a small business, or just at a retail stop. We were talking to Granite Staters about what mattered to them. And they made clear, as they always do, that they wanted their leaders to put aside their differences and work together to address the priorities that they tell us are important to them. Now, I was able to talk about my record of doing just that, but it was also really, really important to people that they were rejecting an assault on our democracy. They were rejecting an assault on the reproductive rights, the personal freedoms of half of the population, and they were rejecting extremists generally. So we were able to talk to people about what mattered to them. I think one of my favorite anecdotes from the trail was when a volunteer came back and said she had been knocking and asking people what was important to them, and she met a man at his door, probably about my age, mid-60s, and she said, "What's the most important issue to you?" And he said, "Well, lots of issues," but then he pulled his 8-year-old granddaughter next to him and said, "This election, I'm voting for her." Right? We heard throughout this election that people wanted us to be thinking about the future for our children, whether that was about protecting women's individual rights, whether that was about finally freeing ourselves from the chokehold that big oil has on this country and moving to a clean energy economy that would also fight climate change, whether that was just making sure that at the end of the day, people could turn out and vote and know that their voice and their vote mattered. So I am really, really excited to be back so that we can continue this work, reaching across the aisle, finding common ground, moving forward on the issues that matter to our voters. And I look forward to being able to do that as part of a majority, including Senator Warnock, who is going to win his election on December 6th. And with that, let me introduce to you a great fighter